Today we're going to show you how to install the SRP pedal covers from SRP Racing Pedals. Hey guys, Kevin Screaming Chicken here. Today we're going to show you how to install the SRP pedal covers from SRP Racing Pedals. We're going to be putting them in our 3rd gen. I'm going to show you what tools you need, how to install them, and the after of what they look like. They're great looking pedals. They've got a nice texture to them. Not too rough, but grip's great. So I think you guys will really like these. And then we're starting with, we have a brake that doesn't have any rubber on it. It's already missing. And then we've got a accelerator pedal that's kind of in rough shape. So that's part of the reason we're putting these on there. I'm going to do one little thing different than what they say to do in the instructions. I'll tell you about when I go to install it, but we'll show you that here next. All right guys, first thing you're going to want to do is gather up everything you need. We've got a drill, we've got a light here. We do have LEDs in the footwell of this car, but this will help me see, it'll help you guys see, and we can do a better job for y'all. You need a Phillips screwdriver, an 11/32 or 9mm wrench, a few drill bits. They do give you an Allen head for the screws. I went ahead and grabbed, we've got a little mini driver kit just to make it a little easier. So I went ahead and grabbed that. And then one of the most important tools, a silver Sharpie. I know you can mark with a black one and sometimes you can see it, but this silver will really stand out on the black to make it a lot easier for you guys. So that's a little tip. If you don't have a silver one, get you a silver Sharpie. It makes life a lot easier when you're working on certain things. A red one's also a great one to have. I keep those around as well. They're between red, gray, and black, or red, silver, and black. You can really kind of mark just about everything. And then I've got an old thick piece of Dynamat that from another job that we did that I just use as a knee pad. So when I'm squatting down beside the car to get underneath there, I'm not killing my knees on the concrete. Okay, so once you're down here in your floorboard, you got your light on so you can see real well, you're gonna want to take each pedal and place it on the pedal and then press it while you're holding it on there, and make sure it's not going to get hung up on your carpet or anything for where you've got it. That's an important step. You don't want your accelerator hanging on your carpet and then, you know, you going off in a ditch or something like that. So make sure you do that. Make sure you've got the clearance there. And then you're going to take your silver Sharpie and mark where you want to drill your holes. Or they do send you some self-tapping screws to go in here, and they work fine. This pedal's beat up and has had some previous covers on it. So we're going to put a screw with a nylock on it just to be safe. But the self-tapping screws work fine. We've had those on other cars. They hold up. Just in this particular case, because this pedal's rough, we're going to use a screw with a nut. The other thing you want to do once you mark where you want to put the holes is make sure that you have clearance behind it so that you're not drilling into either the bar for your accelerator, or you have a pin back there that it pivots on, or with like the brake pedal, you don't want to be going into this bar. You want to be able to have access and then be able to get back there to tighten everything down, and you're not fighting. You're never going to get through this bar. I mean, you will, but you're going to ruin a couple drill bits and just make everything really hard. So just make sure you've got clearance. You know, this pedal's already got a couple holes in it. I don't know that they're going to line up, so we're probably going to have to drill some other holes. We'll see. And then, like I said, this pedal's got some holes from other stuff in it, so we're going to go ahead and put screws with nuts on it just to be safe. Okay, so on the accelerator, I'm going to be able to use one of these previous holes that was already in there, and then I've got my other hole marked. And then on the brake pedal, I'm going to set it up here. You don't have to worry about your clearance so much on this one, but you want to get it centered up so that you're looking good, and make sure that everything's going to fit right where you want it. And I'm going to reach back here, and this needs to drop down just a little bit, trying to feel the top and the bottom and show you guys at the same time. Need to move a little left here. That's good, that's good. So I think right about there is where I want to be. And I'm gonna take my Sharpie, I'm gonna set you guys down, take my Sharpie and mark my holes, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so I've got my marks. Like I said, there were a couple of holes already on this pedal where somebody had some previous covers or something on it. A couple of them are a little close to where the previous holes were, so I'm hoping that we can still get everything drilled out and it'll mount fine. I'm sure I can. I may have to just tweak a couple holes and add a washer. That's no fault of the product. That is just an unfortunate situation of what this car's been through in its previous lives from previous owners. So I'm going to take my drill and drill those out. I like to start with a small hole and then get larger as I need to. A small pilot hole is usually easier to drill, and it'll help you keep everything in place as you continue on. Okay, I've got our holes drilled, and I've just got our brake pedal cover loosely on here with the screws through to make sure the holes line up where I needed them. So it's not fastened yet. I'm gonna go ahead and fasten it down now, and then I'll move over to the accelerator. But I drilled my holes. I started with about a, what was it? It was about a 3/30 seconds bit, a very small bit. And then I worked my way up 2 bits, and I ended up having to use a 3/16 as my final bit for the screws to fit through without any trouble. If you've got something in between a 5/30 seconds and a 3/16, you might not have to go quite that big, but what we had here at the shop was 3/16, and that's where we landed. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my nylock here and fasten them up. Like I said, I brought a driver with the right Allen head to make it a little easier, but they do supply you with an Allen key. And I'll tighten these down and show you all what it looks like once it's tightened down, and then we'll move over to the accelerator. Okay, I've got that one installed now. It's all tightened up. The curve's just a little bit off from where the way the pedal is curved, but it is fairly thin aluminum. So once you get it on there and go to tighten it all up, it'll curve a little bit to the pedal. You can see, I'll put my thumb next to it. These aren't super thick. They're very nice. They feel very well done. These are machined really well. But you don't need super thick covers, so these are great. They don't add a whole bunch of junk to your pedal. So I've got the accelerator. Like I said, we're already going to use one of the holes that's there, so I'm just going to slide this screw through it, put a nylock on the back, and then we'll put a screw up in the upper hole that I've got marked there. All right, guys, so there we've got them both installed. As you can see, I got the bottom one in and the top one, like we had talked about. If you have trouble, these pedals do have ridges on the back that basically give them structure so that they don't just fold. If you do have trouble with those, all it is that holds the accelerator pedal on is a pin and a spring. It's real easy to pop off, and it takes a little bit of finagling sometimes to get them back on, but again, it's just a pin that slides through, and your return spring that makes your pedal go back up fits in a ridge on the pin. That's all that holds it in. So you can pop them out, and it's not too much trouble. And pedals themselves have ridges on the back to give them strength and structure. So if you have to take it off, it's not a big job to do it. And then in the top, we got that one there. So these are on very well. The movement up is the whole pedal. This one, that's the whole pedal moving. They're solid. They look really good. The texture on them is real nice, so they should bite into any shoe you have without any problem. And even if you're somebody that drives barefoot once in a while, it's not so aggressive that it's going to hurt your feet either. So they're real nice. They feel real nice. Overall, this install probably shouldn't take you more than half an hour. It took me about an hour stopping to film and then doing some other stuff here in the shop. So not a bad job at all. You can do this at home with some relatively minor tools. And then one thing too, when you're done, again, I did go ahead and raise this up a little bit from where we marked it. I didn't quite love where it was at, how it was hitting on the carpet and stuff, so I raised it up. Go ahead and test it and make sure you're not gonna get hung. I've got plenty of room there, so we're good. But test that again before you decide to go drive the car, just for safety's sake. And we don't want you to get hurt out here. You don't want to get hurt out there. A stuck accelerator is no fun. Been there, done that, don't want to do it again. So just make sure you test that before you drive the car afterwards. All right, the install for these is going to be very similar on all generations. Basically the same. It's drill the holes in the pedals, put the screws with the nuts on the brake pedal and your clutch pedal if it's a manual car, and then on most of the accelerator pedals you're going to have either like a self-tapping style screw, or you could do a nut and a bolt like we did in this one, because the pedal's in a little rougher shape and a little bit older. Maybe a slight variation on the 5th gens if it's drive-by-wire, because the pedals don't come out the same way, but basically the same. Like I said, if you need to pull them out because of the ridges that give them structure, it's just a pin and a spring. It's not bad, and it's more or less the same on all of them. We did it today on a 3rd gen, but same thing for 4th gens. The pedals are almost identical. They're just a different size. Same for, the other generations. It's just a sheet of metal with, a bar to it so that you can push on the brakes or push on your accelerator. Or, like I said, with the 5th gen, a computer chip behind it. But real simple install on all of them, guys. All right, so there you have it, guys. Not a bad install at all. Like I said, shouldn't take you more than half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. That's gathering tools, cleaning up everything. Even if you have nicer floor mats, leave them in there when you do your drilling, and then you can just pull the floor mat out, shake them off, maybe give it a quick vacuum if necessary. Do that right after you drill. Don't get any shards stuck in your hands. These come in a few different color options. There's a solid silver, the black with the silver accents like we installed here, and then a solid black. Everything's available at screamingchicken.com. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you guys in the next video.